due to some technical difficulties. But regardless, now we're back. And I appreciate everybody that was watching and talking. You know, that previous video that we just did, we'll just say that was a commercial. But, you know, for other people, if you want shirts, go to demonracers.com. The top, there's a shop button. You can get shirts like me and JT are wearing and stickers. And we got all kinds of cool stuff now. So support us. That'd be awesome. Anyways, so what we're going to talk about today is JT's here as well. Still.
Hello.
Yep. And today we're going to talk about, we'll just wait for everybody to jump back in, I suppose. We're back, guys. Hello. We're back. Thanks for coming back in. I know we had a bunch of people there, lost them all. Hopefully you guys find your way back to the second stream today. This will be less commercially because we're going to talk about some serious stuff. In fact, today we're going to talk about human sacrifice and pyramids. And this is a very important topic to talk about because there's a lot relating to it today. Because people think, for some reason, that human sacrifice stopped. They think that there is no more human sacrifice. That was a thing we did a long time ago. We don't do human sacrifices anymore. Thank you, Max Pax. Always appreciate you. It's always interesting. The Mad Pax. Yes. Yeah, I say it wrong. I don't know why I say it wrong every time, but I'm sorry, bro. So anyways, today I want to talk about pyramids, and I want to first show you my screen because I need to be able to show you my screen to talk about some of this. All right. So this are pyramids. This is what we got for pyramids right now. Now, there is a lot of pyramids throughout the world. There's another word for these things. They're called ziggurats. And JT, there was the Bosnian pyramid, I think you were just talking about in that other video.
Well, the other video, it references the Bosnian pyramid. I know we talked about that on JT's mixtape at one point, saying that there's a lot of good evidence that that one, is not a natural rock formation. It is, in fact, a pyramid. But he was saying that one would be like 300 feet taller than the Great Pyramid in Giza.
That's huge.
Yeah, so then, of course, he's saying the one in China could be almost 300 feet bigger than the one in Bosnia.
Yeah. And so these pyramids are all over the entire world. But you know, the interesting part about them, guys, is that they're all abandoned. That's the more interesting part to me. The fact that why do we have these massive pyramidic structures that we call ziggurats or pyramids all over the world, and they're all abandoned, and they're all like mountains, and a lot of them are covered still in grass and green, like the ones all over China are covered in green. And JT, you were saying like they don't want us digging in the ones in China for some reason. In fact, they encourage people to plant on them and like, you know, utilize these pyramidal structures that are all over China. They don't want us looking into it. And why do you think that is?
Well, because again, I think that maybe things they will find that they do not fit. I think they just won't fit the narrative because we have a certain idea of what Asian culture is, and ancient Asian culture would look like. But what if it doesn't look like that? What if it looks more like the stuff that's in South America, the stuff that's in Egypt,
or Samaria?
And that will not fit the narrative because they tell us that there was this migration of peoples that came out of Africa, right? And then eventually they walked across the Bering Strait and from Russia to the North America. And then, so they have their story, their narrative on how the peoples, migrated and started certain cultures. They have timelines on this stuff. But if they have this different kind of timeline where it says, whoa, what is this? Again, they lie by omission because if something doesn't fit into their parameters, they just throw it out. That's kind of what the Smithsonian's known for. And if people really cared about our history, because like, why wouldn't they dig into those pyramids? Because it doesn't look like there's a lot going on at that part in China. Do you think?
Obviously, it's like empty fields. So, I mean, it's not, obviously there's not a whole lot going on there that they're telling us. Now,
I think that there's a responsibility for governments of the world that this history belongs to our, this is history of the world. I think it does need to be, there's a responsibility to let the people know what their history is.
Oh yeah.
But they obviously they see it a little differently.
Just a little bit differently. Not like a whole lot different, just a little bit differently. Well, here's another pyramid that I want people to pay attention to. This pyramid on your dollar bill. Okay? And this pyramid right here says annuit, which is the word announcement, sepotis, which is the word celebration, sepotis, novus ordo seclorum. Okay? Announce celebration of birth of the novus ordo seclorum, the new novus, novice, order, seclorum, sector, orum, as in the whole sector, the world. That's the world. So announce celebration of birth of the new world order. Everybody's like, the new world order's coming. It's coming. No, bro. The new world order has already been here. It's been here for a while. And people, for some reason, don't see it. The new world order, it says announce celebration of birth. And it says 1776 on your dollar bill. Okay. Now, why would they put a pyramid there?
Well, it's kind of like that's the idea when people talk about the new age. And so when we think new, you think like recent. But with the new age is obviously an old thing. It goes back to Gnosticism. And so the new age is actually returned back to the old pagan traditions. And that's it's not new. I think what they really mean, of course, like people like Crowley talked about, that they were leaving this age of like Pisces, where was the fish, right? You think about the Jesus fish. We're leaving this age where Christ is king, where Christianity rules the world, and they were looking forward to go into the age of Horus. So it's, of course, it's not a coincidence that they would be using a pyramid from Egypt as a symbol to identify they were going back to the age of Horus, because that's why there's the eye of Horus is on the top of the pyramid.
Well, it's not just the eye of Horus. That's the eye of Lucifer. And for those that don't know, it describes cherubim as being covered in eyes. And it says that Lucifer is a cherub, or Satan. I guess Lucifer's not the accurate
Well,
name
you
for
have,
him.
but yeah, Horus and Apollo and Lucifer are the same.
The same thing.
There's a comparable, different. Yeah, the devil's got many names.
Yep.
When I'm Taurus, when I'm Apollo.
But
that eye is a symbol of all of them.
That eye is there's also the eye of Ra as well, and it's like that's all Satan. That eye represents the cherub angel that was above God's throne. It says that he was the covering cherub. That's why it's the eye that's above the pyramid. It's the covering cherub eye. It's the eye that represents the cherub were covered in wings and eyes, for those who don't know. And so Satan was called the covering cherub. That's the eye of Lucifer. That's the enlightenment thing. And so and if you notice about that pyramid, I think this is very important. That pyramid is incomplete. Okay? It's incomplete. JT, what other tower structure is noted for being incomplete in the Bible?
Yeah, of course, the Tower of Babel was not completed.
Exactly. It wasn't completed. So what do you think that pyramid is? That is the Tower of Babel. That is the Tower of Babel, and Satan is completing it, coming down to finish the Tower of Babel. That's why you have pyramids all over the world. Everybody's like, well, what are the pyramids all over the world? What is all this pyramid stuff? Bro, every pyramid is a Tower of Babel. They are literally, when God divided the world, everyone kept trying to build their towers of Babel. Pyramids are towers of Babel, guys. It's not that spirally cylindrical thing that what's his name, Leonardo, whoever drew in that painting back in the day.
Peter Bruegel.
Yeah, Peter Bruegel. That's not the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel is a pyramid, guys. The Tower of Babel that's why we're not a colony of Egypt. We have a pyramid on our dollar bill with the Zeus eagle next to it. Bro, that's the Tower of Babel. That's what that is. And for those that don't know, surprise, surprise, it's the unfinished Tower of Babel, showing you that it's being finished by Lucifer, completing it in 1776, guys, when he was let out. So that's what this is. Announced celebration of birth. That's sepotis, means celebration of birth specifically. That's what the word sepotis means. Okay? So then everyone, after they divided and got separated, they went around doing this, building pyramids and ziggurats. They were doing this all over the place. There's another one. Here it is. If it opens. So the why is my screen doing that? So weird. Taking forever. Okay. Yeah. Pyramids and ziggurats. This is what they were doing. They were building these things all over the place. Okay? And they're like, "Oh, there's a difference between them." No, they're the same thing. They are towers of Babel. That's why they're all over the earth. That's why they built them all over the earth. And that's why they continued to do this. Because when God separated the world at the Tower of Babel, they kept trying to make their own little individual towers of Babel. Okay? And
well, you know what's interesting is just real quick, the tower, the ziggurat in Ur, you know, it wasn't found completed. So is it likely that it had more steps to go up to look like a more complete pyramid? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like that, because if you see what that was found from the ziggurat of Ur, it's pretty cooked out looking. So it looks like it's been, you know, you only found part of it. So they kind of tried to make it look complete over here. Like that's what it looked like, except for like, I guess, nicer looking, more new looking. You know, because if you look at that ziggurat over here in Iran, that looks more like a step pyramid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh
yeah. Totally. That, I mean, like they're different versions of it, but they're all the same thing. It's not the structure. That's why they were arguing of how to build it or whatever. But here's the common thing that we do know. We do know what they were doing at these pyramids, at some of them. And what does this look like? Aztec human sacrifice. I don't know if I can even say this word, but this is what they were doing at the pyramids, guys. This right here. Just so you guys see it. Do you see it? Let's just bring it up a little clearer. Maybe it'll come up clearer and you can see it better. Let me zoom in. This is what they were doing at the pyramids, okay? In Aztec area. They take the human and they stab the human and they rip out the human's heart and they pour the blood down the stairs, okay? And they feed it to Amaru, Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent, the feathered serpent, or the god or the demon that sits atop of the pyramid, okay? Eat the flesh and get, what's this? You know what this is right here? This is called sacred knowledge. That's what this is. So you make the sacrifice of the human to the gods at the pyramid to eat their flesh and get sacred knowledge. You get understanding, you get wisdom. The Aztecs had a perfect calendar. Where do you think they got it from? You think they're just sacrificing a bunch of people for funsies, guys? You think they were just killing people because they're like, oh, let's kill Steve today. This sounds like a fun thing. Hey, Steve, let's just chop you up and throw you down the stairs. No, guys, they were killing people till the gods showed up and gave them stuff. You know, they had a perfect system for planting. It was called terra preta, I think it is. Their burned char, biochar that they created, which had to be burned without oxygen to create this terra preta, the rich earth that they were able to use to where their gardening system, they didn't even have to work for their food. It was like easy for them to get their food. They had a perfect gardening system. They had all kinds of systems in place that made things super easy for them. They lived very easily because of this, guys, because of this. They were doing this, killing the people, offering it to the gods. And if you notice, look at them. See, he offers it to the god, the sun god. You see this little sun right here? Notice, look right here. Look, watch. You'll see it repeated over and over in the depictions. It's like, oh, rip it out, look to the sun and see if the sun god approves. Go to the next one, rip it out, look to the sun. It was like this, rip out the heart, show it to the sun. So whenever you look, notice how it's right here again. The sun is like, they're making the offering to the sun god. This is an entity. This is the god. Okay. They're trying to see if the god is appeased by this sacrifice. And then what would happen is the gods would show up and give them sacred knowledge and understanding, making their offering. Okay. This is what this was doing. They were killing people and then making offerings to the gods to get knowledge. Now, if you see here, there's even more. This is like the the early drawings of like stuff related to this, and it starts looking real Masonic, we'll say, when you start getting into this. Because like, look at this, and they got all these skulls on the bottom and the steps. They throw the person down, and they would like kill them and do this, guys. Like, I know this is hard to watch some of it. Hopefully I'm allowed to show it. I don't even know. But this is literally what's going on. Kill the person, make the offering to the god, and then you get sacred knowledge. Okay. And the sacred knowledge is how they actually invented their technology. Okay. And we've been doing this for centuries, guys, for centuries. This didn't stop. Okay. Like, this is not something that went away. Okay. This is literally, we've been doing human sacrifice to gain sacred knowledge and get understanding for centuries. Okay. They've been doing it, and they were doing it in the Babylonian times. They were doing it in the Incan times. They're doing it in the Aztec areas. They were doing it in, the Roman times. They were doing it throughout history. They were sacrificing humans to the gods, killing them in exchange for their appeasement to get sacred knowledge. Okay. Mr. Mustache Man figured this one out. And that's why he moved. The Babylonian gates were moved to Germany, along with the throne of Satan that was moved to Germany, and the Berlin gates, which is the Brandenburg gates. Those are totally occultic. All of these things were human sacrificial doorway portals. Okay. They were all portals. They figured out, oh, hey, if you make sacrifice, do you guys know what the word Holocaust means? You know what it means? The word Holocaust. It don't mean an event that happened in history. It means a sacrifice, guys. I hope you guys.
Like is that like burnt offering?
Yeah, an offering that was burned completely on the altar. It means a sacrifice. It is a biblical term. Okay, so Little Mustache Man figured out if you sacrifice a bunch of people to the gods, they will show up and give you sacred knowledge and understanding. This is what they were doing. Okay. They figured out you could do this, and the gods would give you stuff. They'll show up because the demons are like, hey, look at these godless, empty, void of love and peace. Like, yeah, the demons are like, yeah, we're safe. We can show up to these fools. Well, what do you want? What do you want? You killed a bunch of people. What do you want? Do you know how many people that have schizophrenia that kill people and are told that if they kill people, they'll be given knowledge and understanding and rewards? Do you know that this is a thing? Dealing with people that I deal with, like praying for people, like, bro, that demons make offerings if you give them blood. They say, give me blood and I will give you this. There's so many people in prison that literally they said the voices told me that I killed them, I would get this. And I did, but then I went against the voice. And then now I'm in prison. Had I followed through all the way, probably been rich by now. There's a lot of people, like a lot of the people that you see in prison, those people that have done these terrible things, listening to voices, or people that are in schizophrenic halls, or people that are like, in wards or whatever. Like, these individuals are people that fought against the voices telling them to do stuff. And so like, these people are people that end up becoming crazy, but the ones that are not fighting against it are the ones that are in control of our reality, guys. They're the rich people at the top of the pyramid. Okay. They're the ones, they didn't fight against the voice. The voice said, hey, do this. And who knows what kind of atrocities they've been led into. Okay, this is what every war is. Every single war you have ever been alive to understand has been a human sacrifice ritual. Let me repeat that. Every single war that you have ever been a part of since Jesus came back has been nothing but a human sacrifice ritual to appease the gods or to get sacred knowledge and have the demons show up and teach them things and show them things. This is where technology, a lot of our advancements in technology has come from. People figured out if you could give the gods what they want, give them blood, the demons will give you information in exchange. Okay? And so we see this stuff happening. This is why they put all this stuff in your foods, guys. This is why there's poisons being put in all of our food. This is why they put these chemicals in there, because you are their sacrifice. You are their continuation of the pyramid sacrifice. And this is why you see it like on all the products and things, they sneak this kind of stuff in to let you know that you are the sacrifice. And if you look right here, I'm going to show you this one. Look at this. This one is even more fitting. So check this out. So again, I explained this one in one of my videos. The pyramids, okay? What are at the base of the pyramids and those structures? Which, by the way, everybody's like, oh no, they weren't sacrificing humans over in Egypt pyramids, guys. Those were power generators. No, they're not. They have got the same blood pools, which are these little shallow pools that they have in front of the pyramids that we know over in the Aztec and Incan regions, that they know they were killing people, filling these little shallow pools with blood, okay? And then the entities would show up walking out on the blood. They believed that this is what was happening, and they would give them messages through the person's blood poured out in these little pools. We had the same blood pools in front of the Egyptian pyramids, okay? So like, what makes you think they were not sacrificing humans at the pyramids? You got to be pretty naive, because every other pyramid we know, there was human sacrifices going on. Because again, these were Towers of Babel, and they were trying to permeate into the spiritual realm. And part of that involved some form of killing people. And that when they murdered those people, their spirit moved in some way that they tried to attach to, or I don't know how they were doing it. Obviously, this is occultic, but they had some form of doing this type of action, murdering people at these places, pouring their blood down the pyramid walls, down the steps, and then trying to use that life or whatever, or that death situation to try to hijack into the spiritual realm. That's what they were doing. And this is what our world is slowly going back into, which
Well, Brian,
it's doing this very clear.
Just to be fair, they could also have been sacrificing animals.
They could have been sacrificing animals too, but it's pretty obvious when we see that they were sacrificing humans at a lot of them.
Well, this is the way I kind of figure it, anyways, and I don't doubt that certain words were used for sacrifice, but the way I've always kind of thought about it in my head was that we're told that the pyramids, at least the stories from the ancient peoples that we know, they said, oh, we didn't build these places, giants did. And then so the deceased giants would be, based on the book of Enoch, would have became unclean spirits, demons. And so those giants were often bloodthirsty, cannibalistic. So then in order to appease those gods who built those pyramids, the peoples that came later, that's probably when they were trying. They knew that if they sacrificed people, they could get in contact with the people, with the ancient knowledge. So yeah, it's probably like likely that if a lot of these pyramids were antediluvian, maybe the first best ones were not necessarily, because it's kind of like the giants got worse as they probably products of incest. The narrowing of their, the shallowing of their gene pool. And so that's probably when they got toward, obviously in the days of Noah, they were really bad. And yeah, there's no doubt that they were doing human sacrifices. They were using people as hors d'oeuvres and all that kind of stuff. So they would have been, the worst of the worst. But then you go into the times of like the Israelites, and yeah, they're sacrificing bulls. I mean, you think about it, Solomon, when the temple was first built, he sacrificed over like 1,000 bulls. Like 1,000 bulls, and I don't know how many different types of sheep. It was like hundreds, like thousands of animals. So, yeah, and then eventually they got around to passing their children across the fire to Moloch too. So, yeah.
Well, there is something
very prevalent.
Yeah, there is something spiritual about the moment of death, and there is something spiritual about that moment. And so I mean, like a lot of the sacrifice things were to appease this or to make some transfusion at that moment of death or whatever it was. There is something spiritual that these people were trying to get into or trying to attain. So anywhere you see a pyramid, though, guys, it's basically human sacrifice for the most part, or animal sacrifice of some kind. It was not. And like you said, JT, you were spot on with the idea that it was like maybe they were killing people at these pyramids literally to appease whatever spirit they said, okay, well, we know who built this. Let's pour the blood down, and maybe they'll possess us and give us knowledge and understand, which they did. And that happened, guys. That's literally how a lot of advancements in our technology have come. It's come from things like them making sacrifices to appease the gods to get sacred knowledge. And so like, they try to make pyramid is like their form of of their sign that you are a sacrifice. Okay, and it's fitting that it's on our dollar bill. Okay, because it's basically saying America is a sacrifice. Just a heads up if y'all didn't figure that one out yet.
Well, you know
Um,
what's interesting too is the way that like the Bible talks about the blood and how there's life in the blood. It
mm-hmm.
talks about when Cain killed Abel, that the blood from Abel went into the ground, and that
Cried out.
blood cried out to God. And so
Mm-hmm.
it even talks about it in several different places that, yeah, it's like when blood hits the ground, the heavens know about it.
Yeah,
So,
there's something about it.
yeah, there's something about it like that. That's literally what it's saying. Yeah, that the blood is letting the gods know. Or, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, Abel's blood let the Most High God know.
Yep.
But yeah, in the same kind of way that
Mm-hmm.
the spirits know when blood has been spilled on the earth.
And AI is absolutely being used as a modern day Ouija board, and we'll talk about that. I've already mentioned that before, but we'll talk about that in more detail, bro. But yes, you're absolutely right. That's literally God knows there is some spiritual aspect. Now, I want you to look at these cigarettes, okay? It's called Skull. This is the base of the pyramids, is what they put it in. Skull, Parliament, pyramid. There's a little pyramid here and a pyramid there. Black, again, pyramid. Kingston, pyramid. Kingston, again, it's a 3D pyramid coming out at you with one side that's blue. Do you see that one? It's called pyramid. Corso, pyramid. Misty, which are the mystics that ran the pyramids. Cool is the ancient derivation for ghoul, like ghost and ghoul, which were the demons that were operating through the pyramids. Petra, again, a place where there's some structures. There's a little dragon on here as well, which again is the plumed serpent, the feathered serpent, which is the demons. Salem is short for Jerusalem, which is a whole nother thing about human sacrifice that we can get into later. And then pyramid, again, Kings, this is like, the camel. It's not about the camel, it's about the pyramid in the background. The pyramid, the pyramid, the pyramid, pyramid. Look at the old Marlboro logo. This is the old logo. Notice that they emphasize the A because it's about the pyramid. Okay, this isn't a chevron on the Marlboro logo. That's a pyramid, guys. Look, see how the gold one just has the little triangle? It's not a chevron negative space thing. It is a pyramid. They are telling you it's a pyramid. Remember that sun god that they were offering the blood up to? The little sun thing? That's the sun. That's the circle of lucky strikes, which Loki is the god Lucky, which is rains down luck, good luck or bad luck, which is Loki, which is Inky, who happens to have a pyramid. Okay, this is Amaru Khan spirit, the spirit of Amaru. Amaru is the demon that ran the pyramids. He's the plumed serpent.
That one, that one Marlboro logo with the green. What in the world, dude? It looks like totally like the two towers in there too, man. That's like,
oh yeah,
that's some Illuminati stuff. Like,
oh for sure.
What is that? What is it? The NXT cigarettes? What are those?
I don't even know.
I never really noticed that, but if you really look at all the Marlboro logos, like the way Marlboro is written, that totally looks like the two towers, does it not?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And
that's some Illuminati stuff there.
Oh, straight up. And then the top of the pyramid comes off when you lift up the packs, like right there. The top of the pyramid comes up just like the top of the pyramid on the dollar bill. And this is
Brian. I gotta share a video with the audience if they have not ever seen this.
Oh, sure.
If you've got something to say, but this
hold on, let me finish it and we'll bring that up.
Yeah, let's relate.
And so this is like menthol, which is again, this is a portal, and Newport, which is a portal, which is the rings of Saturn. Okay. And so like when you recognize what all these things are, guys, this is saying you are the sacrifice. That's what this is saying. You are the burned offering. You are the sacrifice. That's what cigarettes are. You're the continuation of the burnt offering. You know what? What's the little thing that the cigarette people, like they put their cigarettes in? What's those called? What are those things called? You know what they're called? They roll the papers up in? Do you know what they're called? They're called zigzags, bro.
Oh, okay.
Zigzags. And so, like, this is literally the rolly papers are called zigzags because it's the ziggurat. This is the rolly papers they put the cigarettes in. Okay, this is literally, that's what zigzags are. It's referencing the ziggurat. That's literally what this is, guys. And so, like, the human sacrifice did not go away. It evolved. It evolved. It went away for a little bit when Jesus was here for 1,000 years, potentially. And then after that, we started digging up all the old ways, and then it came forth again in a whole new way. And so that's what this is. That's what these things are. And if you just look at this, watch Amaru, dragon. So if you look up this is Amaru, okay? So this is Amaru Khan, who they told you America was named after. No, this is the Amaru. This is the mythical serpent or dragon, Amaru. This is what America was named after. And so if you just type in Amaru temple, and you look, bro, this is the plumed serpent all over. Look right here, the plumed serpent, the feathered serpent at the base of the pyramids where they kill the people and pour the blood down the stairs. You see Amaru, the feathered serpent, the plumed serpent, the dragon. That's what this is. You see him all over the place. This is Amaru. This is Amaru. It means dragon, and Ka means land. Amaru Ka means the land of the dragon. America. Amaru Ka. That's really weird. That's why it says America's finest cigarettes. It's Amaru Khan's finest cigarettes, bro. That's what this is about. Like, all of this is the feathered serpent, the plumed serpent, the dragon. So when you see this stuff, like, they're telling you that you are the human sacrifice. They're telling you that's what you are. You, like, sacrifices didn't just go away. Again, they went away for a little bit, but then they evolved into this, into cigarettes, guys. This is what the dragon is. This is why we're called America. Do you have your little thing you wanted to share?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, if you're ready. Yeah, check this out. So,
do your thing.
Of course, because we were talking about the eye, we were talking about the pyramid, and of course, I couldn't help but notice on those Marlboro cigarettes that it looks eerily like two towers. So, Brian, you might have to trim this out later. I'm not sure if this is copyrighted or not. I don't think it is. It's
what
really
is it?
old. You'll see it.
Okay, wait. Well, let me show one more thing before I trim it out. Let me show one more thing.
You'll just be able to trim this out. You'll be able to trim this segment out if they call it. So just check this out.
Okay.
I still have those visuals, those images.
Oh yeah.
We're on, as a nation, efficiency now. The suicide bombers, it happens in Israel on a daily basis. Those are the things we have to be careful of now. We have to watch for now.
Do you expect suicide bomb planes struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center 1 year ago? Hundreds.
Wow. Look at that.
Mark the anniversary, and what is expected to be, I tell you that the anniversary ceremony will also include several moments of silence.
Oh my gosh.
The hijacked jets hit place roses on the site.
Now, as different as it looks.
That is so. Oh my gosh.
That's wild. So that was the 1 year anniversary. So that was September 11th, 2002. That on Ground Zero, they walked around and they formed the Eye of Horus.
The giant eye.
And of course, and if you look, you know what CBS's logo is? It's also an eyeball. So that was crazy. I remember that was one of those mind-blowing things when if you start to understand their language, that they speak in symbols, that I was like, that was really, really bold that they did that. That was kind of like, they don't really care.
Oh no.
Because if you can speak their language, it's like, yeah, that was like a middle finger to everybody. It was more like just planting their flag. This is why we did it. And if you think that was, if you believe like some of us believe, that day was a mass human sacrifice.
It was totally a mass human sacrifice. That's the Twin Tower for sure was a human sacrifice.
And not only that, what they often do when they do human sacrifices, they burn a pentagram. Well, they burned a Pentagon that day.
Oh, interesting.
Earlier that day.
Very interesting.
No coincidences there.
No, and guys, this has been going on. All wars, all attacks. If it's a global attack thing, guys, it's not a war. War is the dumbest word. You should get that war out your head and just start calling it what it is. Human sacrifice. Oh yeah, we're going to human sacrifice. Yeah, that's what they're trying to put us into. Oh yeah, more human sacrifice. It's not war. It's human sacrifice. Nobody wants war, guys. Nobody wants that. No, it's not you, not me, no one. Nobody in Pakistan wants it. Nobody in Afghanistan wants it. Nobody in any country, Iran, nobody wants it. Nobody wants this stuff. Like, they want to just live their life and be normal human beings and love and love their neighbor and live. Okay, and now here's another thing I'm going to show you guys. So, and like, just because the symbolism is in everything. And like this one, this is even funnier because I don't know if you know who owns all the big corporations. It's all owned by, they own everything. The cigarette company, Big Tobacco, owns Kraft, by the way. Okay, so you wonder why the Big Tobacco is putting poisons in your food? This is the Juul logo for people that are like, oh, well, maybe cigarettes are bad, but I still use my vape. Like, this is the Juul logo, okay?
The cigarettes are probably way better for you than just whatever's in those vapes.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's all terrible. But like, think about this. Look at the Juul logo. You notice the Juul logo? What's that look like to you, JD? Have you seen this?
It kind of looks like somebody on their knees.
You're right. Did you see it right away? Dude.
It took me a second, but I can kind of see it looks like somebody's hands are kind of splayed out and they're on.
I'm going to draw it for you. Look, that's the Juul logo. That's them.
It does. Yeah,
that's a little stick dude with his on his knees with his head. You see the head right there, and that's his left hand, his right hand, and he's on his knees, bowing down, being ready to get his head chopped off and his heart ripped out. Okay,
or he's worshiping, right?
Or he's worshiping, yeah. That's the Juul logo. That's like, dude, all of them are telling you. Yeah, it says Jew. It says Juul logo. The funny thing is, like, all of it is telling you that it's human sacrifice ritual stuff, and it does all pertain to a lot of people. So when a lot of things in our world will say, and so like when you look at this stuff, guys, you see it and you recognize it. You're like, oh my gosh, like that's shocking. It should shock you, but it's right there in front of your face, and they're telling you this because they want you to know. Because if you know and you ignore it and you do it, then there's what's called basically like there's an authority that has been given to you and a warning's been given to you by God. Like it says, a curse without a cause cannot come to rest on its intended victim. It says like a fluttering sparrow or a darting sparrow. Curses cannot come to rest on you unless they have a cause. But you know what your cause can be? Being warned and doing nothing about it. Because when you're told it's not good and you ignore it, your heart knows it's not good. And then what happens is you have a conviction. And when you ignore the conviction, then you're now in a place where you're actually, when you know something's wrong and you continue to do it, now you're in sin. You're not necessarily in sin until you've been told about it. And
yeah, I was going to just say, it's interesting, especially because on the topic of cigarettes, is that if you watch like old TV shows, everybody smokes. Like it's not even a big deal. It's kind of like that if you taught your kids there's nothing wrong with smoking, they would grow up and start smoking. And I don't think that would be a sin for them. I'm not encouraging you guys to do that. But the fact that they have no idea that it's bad, it would be a sin. And I'm not necessarily saying that it's a sin because, again, we live in the era of faith. But if you don't believe it's wrong, you're taught it's right your whole life, and it's not a big deal. But now you think about it, they put these warning labels on the cigarette packs. So now they're telling you it's not right. You shouldn't do this, but then you'll do it anyways. And it's funny how we talked about on
this is how curses work.
JT's mixtape a lot about how we often say, because we're talking about the devil and the way he actually operates, we often say they always have to tell you. And it's like, I don't think that they always have to tell you, but the devil wants to tell you that you're about to sin before you do it. So then you're going to be held accountable for it.
Yep.
Because if you didn't know what you were doing is wrong, then it doesn't. It has no benefit to him. It's not. Yeah. He wants you to be held accountable because he's the accuser. So that's why he wants to tell you what you're getting into, but he still wants you to do it. So I mean, I think that's why they. I think that's why they tell you.
Yep. And what sin is to you is different than what sin is to me. So this is why you got to know about it. And this is what they've been doing with movies. And now if you look at cigarette packs in other countries, bro, look at this stuff. Have you seen this stuff in other countries, what it looks like? This is the cigarette packs in other countries. Isn't that crazy? It's disturbing. Have you seen all this? Like when you see cigarettes in other countries, it's like gross. They have to put like these diseased lungs on the cigarette packs. And they put like warning signs. These are curses, guys. These are curses. This is why they show these pictures like this.
In other countries. What country is that? They do
everywhere, bro. That's everywhere like this. They show dead people. Look, this is a dead dude. They show people with rotting teeth, and this is how it is on all kinds of country in other countries, just not in America.
Isn't that kind of like the contradiction though? Is that in America, that we have an FDA that lets them put all kinds of weird chemicals that you cannot pronounce in our foods, but then in Europe, where they definitely like to smoke, they like to smoke more over there, but they're not allowed to put all those chemicals in. I wonder.
Well, it makes sense. I'll explain it.
But I wonder if this is true as well, though, that that a lot of people believe that, like, let's just say, and again, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not encouraging anyone to eat this, but if you just smoke tobacco, like you farmed it and then you dried it and you smoked it, that's not near as bad as what you get when you get those cigarettes, because they put a lot of different things into the tobacco that you end up smoking. I wonder if it's possible that if the FDA lets them put all kinds of new, like, preservatives and weird chemicals in our everyday food, do you think it's possible that the cigarettes they smoke over in Europe don't have all the chemicals that the ones that we have do as well?
I don't think so.
I'm just asking. I mean,
it's
I'll
interesting.
have to look that up. But I mean, I wouldn't doubt it though.
Well, here's the thing. Like the cigarettes in the other countries, the reason why they put these rotted lungs and the cancer and all this wickedness on these cigarettes, the reason why they do this is because they're cursing you. They're trying to tell you that when you smoke the cigarette, when you look at it, you know what that sick is. You're seeing it with your face. So you are without excuse, because you are not to be without excuse, because you see this rotting image and it's literally a curse being put on you. So that way people go, oh, like this curse is being spoken over you, to where, like, when you see it, you're like feeling, oh, this is what's going to happen to me if I continue to smoke the cigarette. That's what you're feeling. Like, that's literally what you're feeling. And when you're feeling that, that's what it becomes in you, bro. This is how curses work. This is why the media tells you what they're doing. They got to tell you, because when they tell you and you accept it and you don't do anything about it, then they have a right to affect you. Do you understand? It's like this is why they put it in the media. This is why they tell everybody everything. Okay? But you know who owns all these corporations? Big Tobacco owns Kraft. They own a bunch of the companies and the corporations in the world. This is why they put the poisons in the food. They have to tell you, so that way this curse can land on you, so you can be killed and then sacrificed. Okay, guys, smoking's so bad. I don't know a single person that's like, when you're smoking, it invites so much more wickedness into your life. It, like, there's problems. People, if you smoke, you don't find peace in your heart. It's like there's like a thing with it that affects people negatively. And so it's not, if you smoke, whatever, try to find peace. And like try to quit, obviously, but you're supposed to quit in your heart. And it's like, the PACs tell you, your parents tell you, your world tells you this. Okay? And so, like, that's why they did so much cigarette education in America, because they want you to believe in the curse. Almost everybody knows if you smoke cigarettes, it's gonna give you sickness.
Brian,
it's really interesting.
Brian, I just looked it up. Yes, American cigarettes typically contain more additives and chemicals than cigarettes sold in Europe. This difference stems from regulatory discrepancies between the United States and European Union regarding that can legally be included in tobacco products. So, yep, it's just like the food. So, the ones here are likely worse for you because of all the other things that. It's not like it's not bad enough to put smoke into your lungs, but whatever else that they're putting into those, whatever's in that smoke. And I think that's probably why the vape stuff is so bad for you, because it's like literally all just chemicals.
Yep. You don't even know what's in it.
No. I mean, I think they can hide. These kind of companies can kind of hide behind like this proprietary. Was it a proprietary blend, and then they can kind of hide, or at least the amounts of whatever they're putting in there.
The American spirits don't have chemicals in their tobacco, somebody says, but I think it's funny because it's called American spirits, Amaru Khan spirits. It's literally saying the spirit of Amaru. Like, it's still telling you You're an offering, bro. It's still saying
Well, yeah.
this is
Well,
this burnt offering.
I mean, you can find. I mean, you can. What I'm saying is, you can find cigarettes that actually say that they're just pure and they don't have any additives. Kind of like you can go get organic food, but if you go get just whatever's off the shelf and you're not looking for that, it is. I do believe that's probably why they're worse for you, because it's
Yeah,
like they're designed
maybe
to be worse for you,
it's better that it doesn't.
and probably more addictive.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe it's better if it's just straight tobacco. I don't know. Honestly, I just know that burned offerings are burned offerings, and a lot of cigarettes, they're burned offerings. Like, and like when you smoke them, no matter how good or bad it is for you, it usually invites like a lot of destruction into your life when you're burning offerings of things you don't understand. And so like it's like it's an addiction. It's a demon. That demon gets on you. And you know, it's really interesting. People that do drugs the first time they do drugs, I don't know if you guys know this. Knick-knack neutrals, I don't know. The first time people do drugs, a lot of times they don't get an effect. I don't know if you know this, but the people the first time they smoke weed, it won't do anything to you. It won't do anything to you.
I smoked it like 5 times before I got.
Oh,
got
really?
high.
Yeah. The first
weird.
time.
It's really kind of weird. Yeah, I've never really heard like a. Of course, I've never really looked it up afterwards. But I mean, that's just very common. Yeah, you don't get high when you smoke weed for the first time. At least that's what I was always told, and I was like, how could that be true? I didn't even believe that could be true, because I'm like, if it's either some kind of narcotic or it's not, right? But no, but why? So why not? Do you have a reason, Brian? Do you ever look this up?
Oh yeah, there's a reason, because you're burning an offering to a demon, and the demon is the high feeling, and you have to wait for the first evocation of the demon. Can't enter you right away, because you have to make sure. It's like the Lord's like, no, you can't touch this person, maybe whatever reason. The person has to have a real intent when they do it. So the second time you do it, you know that you're doing it for that intent. Like it's been settled in. And so the demon has access to you. And so there's a dude, Danny Trejo was in jail with what's that dude? Charles Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can bring this up. Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo. Charles Manson hypnosis. So this is a really really interesting thing. Let's see if I can. I'm going to see if I can bring this up and talk about it, but it's very fascinating, because Danny Trejo was talking about being in prison with Charles Manson, and Charles Manson was a hypnotist, they said. He said he was like super good at hypnotizing people at doing drugs. Oh, I can play it. Here, ready? We're going to do it. This is so good. This is really important to understand how demons operate when it comes to sacrifice and all kinds of things. So check this out. Oh, did it? Wait, I didn't do it with audio. Let me do it with audio. I have to do screen share, entire window, also include audio. Tell me if this doesn't a weird echo. I don't know if it's going to do a weird echo thing. Tell me if this goes weird.
In prison, didn't you? What was that story? Can you tell us that?
County jail. In the county jail. But let me tell you, Charlie wasn't the guy that you saw on the TV specials. All right. He was he was like 5'4", 5'5", little scrawny. He was poor, kind of like a bum, really. He had a string for a belt. He tied his pants with a string because he couldn't afford a belt. You know, and everybody else, we dressed, cool, ironed our pants, and so some of the prisoners were going to take advantage of him, because they take advantage of anybody that's small, and we found out that he could hypnotize you, so we let him sleep in front of our cell to make sure that nobody would hurt him, and he got us loaded on weed, and 3 other guys in the cell.
Hypnosis.
Everybody else had like 6 guys in their cell. We only had 3 because we were special. I had 2 killers with me, so.
That's a demon, by the way, talking. Just so you know.
And then he got us loaded on weed. And I said, well, get us loaded on heroin. So the three of us tried to get loaded. He got two of us loaded on heroin. One guy just woke up, and afterwards I asked him, how come he couldn't do him? And he asked, did you ever get loaded on heroin? He goes, no. Well, your mind doesn't know how to work. You understand? Your mind doesn't know how to react. If I tell you to do something while you're hypnotized and you haven't done it before, or you don't know how to do it, you'll just wake up. And that's what kept happening.
Yeah, so you're saying that he got you guys loaded up on heroin or weed, but there was no heroin or weed in the room, right? He was doing this purely through hypnosis.
People know when I get loaded on heroin, my eyes, I get red under my eyes. And it's like literally the first thing, blah, you throw up, you dump.
The first time.
And I mean, me and Chato, it's like we both got blah. He dumped in the sink, I dumped in the toilet, and looked. Hey, what you doing? And oh, everybody was like shocked. And this Johnny Ronnie Cruz, he was like, well, what happened? He never got loaded. And boy, I was sorry when they transferred Charlie out.
You've basically got unlimited access to anything that you want because he can just keep on hypnotizing you back into it. What was he in for? Do you know why he was there?
Yeah, I have no idea. He was nothing of any, because he was a petty thief. He wasn't.
Anyways, so the important part that I wanted to share was that the guy he was talking about, he was saying he got hypnotized into being on heroin, but Charles Manson could not hypnotize the other guy in the cell because he'd never done heroin. That's because the spirit had never been evoked in that man. Do you understand? And from a hypnosis experience, they'll be like, oh yeah, your mind doesn't know how to work. No, fool, you didn't evoke the demon. If you do the drug, you evoke the demon and the demon has access to you. That's how it works. That's why the first time you do a drug, you have to evoke it. And a lot of times it won't do anything to you the first time you do it, because that's the initiation of the evocation. You got to do it a few times, or at least twice, at least the first time, the second time, for it to actually allow the entity to have its control over you. And so the Lord has grace on people. You might have to do it 3 times, but like, it's usually you got to do it twice before the drug can actually affect you properly. The evocation drug. You've evoked the demon. And that's why Charles Manson couldn't hypnotize the dude that ain't never evoked the demon, because it ain't there. It doesn't have authority or rule over that person's body. This is how demons work, guys. You burn offerings to them. You give them what they want, and they take what they can of you, and they can control parts of your life. So you burn offerings to demons, and the demon shows up, and he says, burn me another offering, human. Burn me another one, fool. Give me my offering. Burn another cigarette. Burn another one, or I'm going to give you anxiety, fear, stress, regret, anger, frustration. Give me my offering, or I will give you suffering, because you've burned the offering to me. Now you owe me my offering. That's how demons work, just so you guys know. And so people are like, oh,
go ahead.
No, yeah.
I was just going to say, it's interesting, though, that Charles Manson, if you guys know a little bit of the history behind him, not necessarily the mainstream history, there's a really interesting book. You guys should check it out, or at least maybe check out like the Cliff Notes version of it. It's a book called Chaos by, I think it's Tom O'Neill is the author. And it's about how that Charles Manson was connected with 3-letter agencies and MK Ultra and the Haight-Ashbury part of San Francisco. And so there's so many really sketchy things about Charles Manson, that he was just this kind of just low life criminal, career criminal. And then he got arrested several times before whatever happened to Sharon Tate and all that stuff. And him and all his crew kept on getting let out for some reason. It's because they were connected with 3-letter agencies that were letting them out. So you kind of wonder how involved he was, because they did talk about how he had this kind of almost supernatural control over his crew.
Because he was working with demons.
what they even say, like, so like the Sharon Tate
Talking
stuff,
your mic,
you know, her,
JT. Talking your mic more.
the Sharon Tate stuff about her, you know, like that, was it Roman Polanski's wife, they were butchered in this house? Her and I can't remember how many other people, but Charles Manson did not commit those unalivings. Like, it was but he supposedly mind controlled them to go do it. So you do kind of wonder, like, how involved he was with being able to carry out, to make Manchurian candidates, not just being one himself, because it sounded like he had more control over it. So then he goes into jail, and then he can do the same kind of things in jail. And it's kind of interesting in the way that he couldn't really control the one guy's mind, but the one guy's mind he could control was the guy who's like a famous actor. Do you think there's any correlation there, that guy's like big time in Hollywood? And so that guy is susceptible to hypnotism, and that guy ends up being a very successful actor. And the other guy is somebody we've never heard of.
Well, that would make a whole lot of sense, I would imagine. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, I mean, that's the thing about, like, who makes it in the pop industry, who makes it in Hollywood. And a lot of people would just say, oh, it's just the beautiful, the talented, the connected. Yes, yes, yes. But it's another level of that. And it might be who's susceptible to this mind control that is clearly the 3-letter agencies are connected with Hollywood and New York and Washington, and that's who they make sure that they can be controlled. The people who they're gonna make famous.
Oh yeah, they got to make sure that you're a controllable entity before they choose you or select you, and that's why they bring you through these things. And this is how you sell your soul, guys. Like, it's literally like part of you is doing the thing that you know you're not supposed to do, going against your convictions. That's part of selling your soul. That's why you do the butt stuff that they do to you in the occult. Doesn't matter, girl or guy, they do these things to you to bring you into the position. You're selling your soul in these acts. That's what you're doing. It's ripping a piece of your soul off when you do this kind of stuff. And you're being like, you're going against your better judgment, your conscience. That's what Katy Perry's talking about when she says, and then I sold my soul. Like, she literally is just saying she decided to sleep with a person. She's not lying. She literally sold part of her soul doing this stuff to get to where she's at. And they have to make sure that you sell a part of your soul, because then they have control over you. And then when your soul is broken a little bit, they can interject more demons into you and influence you better. So it's all part of the system that we exist in. Like, it's all wickedness, it's all depravity, it's all this maniacal control. And it all ties back to understanding of human sacrifice. And the reason why they want to sacrifice you, because it gives them sacred knowledge. Who knows what little mustache man's sacred knowledge was that he got after doing his ritual sacrifice? But Mustache Man probably got a lot of knowledge. And I'm betting that's why we got NASA rocket technology. Where do you think that came from? That came from all the knowledge they got from little Mustache Man. Okay, that's why all the Nuremberg nonsense that they put out there, bro, they fake stuff and lie to your face in the news today. How easy would it have been to lie like in the Nuremberg trial back then and be like, oh yeah, we had a trial. We killed a bunch of people. Yep, they're bad guys. We took them out. No, fool. They didn't. I doubt if even one of them was killed. I doubt if ever single one of them. I doubt if that would ever even happened. All they did is took them and said, here's our leaders, and we will make you now the part of the initiates that did the sacrifice, and you gain the knowledge. We'll now send you to the other countries. You will infiltrate the other countries and influence the world. That's what happened.
Yeah, we need to do a podcast about Argentina connected to those bad Germans from the 30s, because it is sort of weird that there's like this colony of Germans in Argentina. Okay. And there's a movie, and I said my brother's always told me to watch it, but I have not watched it yet. It's called The Boys from Brazil. You ever heard of that, Brian?
I heard of this. I
think it's a movie from like the 70s, and it's about how there's all these twins down there, and
because of the twin experiments.
Yeah, because it wasn't. I don't know if it was Joseph Mengele or was somebody like that. That was supposedly one of the those German scientists that was doing all kinds of human experiments, and he learned how to do something to, make twins. So there's tons of them down there. Like it's so far above like what's common that, this guy was like he had something. He was like some kind of fertility like specialist down there.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. We'll have to do that. I'm writing it down. That will be one of our next episodes eventually. And so anyways, this is all tethered to this, guys. I mean, like, and you gotta like see it. Sorry to be bashing on people that smoke cigarettes, not trying to hurt you or condemn you. Okay. And thank you, Sydney Adams, so much for the support. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all the support, guys. You're awesome. I appreciate you so much. No bashing on it but like try not to smoke, bro. Like that would be my suggestion. Try not to smoke because you are a human sacrifice and it's definitely not healthy. And they are definitely trying to kill you and they're doing bad stuff with it. And I mean, they're doing it with all the foods and the chemicals in our stuff. But like if you know that it's there and you believe in it and you go against it knowing that it's poison, it's going to affect you more. Like, and so it's literally how it works. So like if you feel conviction, don't do it. If you feel convicted not to do a certain thing or eat a certain thing, don't eat it. Don't do that thing. Like that's sin to you. Okay? That's not what it is to me. It's not what it is to anybody else. And don't push your convictions on other people. Like, bro, I'm not trying to push convictions of people not smoking cigarettes on other people. Like whatever, dude. Like I think it's a human sacrifice. That's my opinion. If the Lord hasn't convicted you on it, I guess, then I guess whatever, dude. Like, but I would be suspicious if you're not struggling in other things in your life. And the thing is, like there's certain things like, drinking soda. I don't drink soda, but sometimes I do. Randomly, I'll just like, okay, why not? Like, I don't really care. Like, it's not like a thing that if I feel convicted about it, then I won't do it. But if I don't, then whatever. It's not a big deal. It's like the Lord shows us in our heart what to feel. Feels like you took back you. What? I took back me. I hope that's a good thing. I don't know what that means. So anyways, yeah. So yeah, the love people, don't hate people. It says, Brian, wondering what you think about Matthew. I'm just wondering, when I was younger, I used to call people a fool all the time, and it was kind of like a thing in California back in the 90s. So, there's a difference between calling somebody a fool and saying that's foolish. Okay, guys? And I'll explain this to you by the Spirit, just so you understand. If I was to say to your face, you, like, let's say me and JT were having a conversation, and JT did something, and I said, JT, you're a freaking idiot. Like, bro, that would be like me taking a knife and stabbing it into his heart. Like, saying that is not in the Spirit, is cruel. But if I say, dude, if you crash your car into something, you do this thing or whatever, and I say, you're a freaking idiot if you do that. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is, like, that would be foolish. That would be idiotic. That's not me condemning someone directly to their face, saying you're stupid, you're an idiot, or you're whatever. That's not, there's a difference when it comes to like saying that's foolish or that you're a fool if you do this. Like, bro, I'm just saying that's foolish, but like me to say to your face, you're a fool and condemn you. That's what it says. It's your danger to say Raka to your brother. It's like saying Raka, you empty-headed fool. Then you're in danger of hell's fire, because what you're doing there is in the Spirit, you're taking a knife and you're stabbing your brother and saying, you fool, you idiot. That's terrible. You don't do that.
Well,
like,
it's also important to make the distinction between your brother and somebody who's not your brother, because there are fools. Right?
There's a lot of fools.
Well, I mean, the Bible says if somebody's an atheist, they're a fool.
Yeah.
So if I said that person's a fool, I mean, am I guilty of hellfire? No, because that person's not my brother, and they say that they're not.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true to some extent, but yeah. You know, that is true. It does say that there's foolish. You're a fool if you do certain things, and it says it. But there's a
Yeah, read
difference
the
between
Proverbs. There's lots of
yeah.
people who are fools.
There's a lot of fools in Proverbs,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between calling someone a fool to their face, and that's what I'm saying. Like you don't ever, even though they may be doing foolish things, you don't call them a fool to their face. That's something by the Spirit that you are condemning. That's condemning someone. You can say that's foolish. You can say you're a fool if you do this. You can say this kind of things, but like when you are condemning someone, that's pointing a finger at them and saying you are a fool. That's what it means by Raka, you empty-headed fool. You're in danger of hell's fire. You are not supposed to say these kind of things. You're supposed to operate in love. It's not love to say you are a fool. You're an idiot. Like it's not love. That's wicked. That's wickedness. That is not how we're supposed to treat our brothers. Anyways, I hope that explained that. And
It also, the context too is it says, but I say that you that are everyone who is angry with his brother, you'll be liable of judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to counsel. Whoever says you fool will be liable to hellfire. So I think it's about intent too, because it's like talking about like being angry with somebody and saying something in anger.
yeah,
Because he starts it off by saying, you shall not murder. But whoever murders is liable to judgment. But I say to you, if you're angry with your brother, you're liable. Because he's trying to, so Jesus is trying to explain like that.
it's in your heart.
It's in your heart in the same way that, it's easy to say you can't call somebody a fool. But then if you look at a woman with lustful intent, he's saying it's the same as adultery too. So, I mean, understand like both of those things are liable of hellfire.
Yeah. And when Jesus says
he's
that
trying
adultery
he's
line,
trying to show he's trying to show you that it's more about
your heart.
like your why than your what.
Exactly. Yep. He's trying to say it's about your heart. It's literally comes down to and that's why it says again in Jeremiah 31:31, it says, I will be their God and they will be my people, and I will write my commandments upon their mind and I will put it in their heart. That's where the sin is. It's in your heart, guys. It starts in your heart. Okay, that's what that actually means. Again, they don't teach this stuff in church though, bro. Like I'm glad we're talking about this because honestly, they need to teach like this kind of stuff is like so not taught. Like I had to figure this stuff out on my own. It's like reading the Bible and like really like seeking the Lord. But like this is not something I've ever heard anybody pastor preach.
Well, it's kind of also the kind of things that you should learn by reading the word and asking the Holy Spirit to give you discernment about it. Understanding the new covenant versus the old covenant is really important because it's I think that's what people really get twisted on, like the law versus the law of grace in the new covenant. It's like a lot of times the rules are the same, but it's identifying like why you're keeping the rules versus just keeping, you know what I mean? Like just doing something is not good enough under the new covenant. You have to be led to keep the law. And therefore the laws, because I think that's why he's saying like the law is not bad. It's just trying to keep the law is not going to get anyone to heaven. It's going to be your why. And that's what Jesus is literally saying. Oh, just because you haven't murdered somebody, you think that you're good. But are you angry with your brother? Do you yell at him? Do you call him a fool? Well, you're liable of judgment
You're
too.
just as bad.
Yeah, you're just as bad. So don't look at somebody else and say that they're worse than you when all you have is evil in your heart toward your brother.
Yeah. And when you tell somebody like, I hate you, you fool, like, did you hear me just saying that word, I hate you? Ugh, it feels gross to even say it. Like saying that word, I don't say that word to people ever, but like that, I hate you, that is in the spirit, guys. If you can listen in the spirit, a lot of people aren't very good at hearing in the spirit, and we need to be better at it. Okay. And you not be affected by the things of the spirit, but at least be able to hear in the spirit. Okay. Because there's some people that can hear in the spirit and it's like anything you say, they're like, ow, that hurt my feelings. Like it's not like that. We're supposed to be sensitive though in the spirit. Okay. And so what I mean by that is like recognize that when you say words like, I hate you, that is a wicked in the spirit. I just threw a bunch of knives, bro. Like in the spirit, that's what it feels like. And if I was to say that to somebody, like, bro, that's like taking knives and throwing it at them. It's literally spiritual murder. It is. And you can feel it when somebody says things, you idiot, to you, when they say that to you. Oh, it feels like that just stabbed you like, "Ka, ka, ka, ka." And it's like in the spirit, that's what's happening. And it does that to your spirit, and it numbs your spirit, and it dulls your spirit. And this is why we can't hear in the spirit very well. Because literally we've been so numbed and dulled by all the wickedness that we've spoken to one another out of our mouths, or the hate or the resent that we have to each other, like that we have for each other, like that unforgiveness and that hurt, that literally creates this hate and resent and this negativity, and it makes you spiritually null. It makes you spiritually like dense and dull and numb. And then it's like, oh, you miss the spiritual things. You miss when the Lord speaks to you. God says it says in the word, God speaks to us once, then twice, but man perceives it not. Did you know that? It says once, then twice. It says he speaks to us in dreams and in visions. So like, how you going to know when the Lord's speaking to you? Because you perceive it not, because you're not understanding. So a lot of times people see the things I'm saying and they look at the surface level of what I'm saying. Like, oh, Brian's so full of pride or whatever. I'm not speaking in my heart. If you see my spirit, like I'm speaking with love, trying to teach and understand and explain. And so like, this is what you're supposed to be with, like that. You have to be with your spirit speaking in love. Anyways, random and way to end the stream, but all brings back to Jesus.
Yeah. Amen with that. So if we're wrapping up, hey guys, I want to promote something real quickly. I see we got almost 400 people on here. I'm premiering a podcast over on JT Follows JC, or at JT Follows JC on my YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, it's a pretty good kind of Bible nerd out session with Josh Truex of Modern Roots Life. We talk about the story of Jonah, and we dig deeper into the meaning of it, because I think that's a very important story, because Jesus quotes it about how he was the sign of Jonah. And to understand understanding the story of Jonah is fundamental to understand what happened in our past. So yeah, please check that out. Yeah, that's premiering in about 25 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Awesome. And guys, also Ancient Angel shirts, demonracers.com, and sticker packs. And thank you so much for the support, but mostly for the support, guys, because just the donations alone, that's what keeps me going, guys. You guys are amazing. I'm trying to like give something back to y'all's with this. But yeah, and if the shirts are sold out, then I'll put more up like the next day. Okay, if they sell out, just come back the next day and I'll have them up. And then I might have new colors too soon, and new stuff. But anyways,
yeah, check out the previous live. If you guys want to see details about the shirts and the sticker packs, go watch the previous live stream that had to end
Canceled.
early. Yeah, but yeah, you can get the new JT Follows JC sticker pack with a President Nixon calling the moon from a landline. I think that's gonna be. Like I said, I'm excited to get that in shirt form. We're gonna have to do that.
That's coming
ASAP.
soon. Coming soon. Anyways, all right, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you again so much for your support. You guys are amazing, and for everybody watching. And I hope you have a wonderful day, everybody. And God bless you. And thank you again, everyone. Awesome. All right.
Later.
Bye.